right, thank you.
You're welcome. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you, Brianna. Mia, it is your day to bring in a writing prompt for your research question. Are you ready?
I'll send it on the chat.
Excellent.
Do I have to like type in a sentence or can I just put like the topic itself?
You should ask a question.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, if you don't mind, could everybody put their cameras on if your cameras are working? It's just weird for me to stare at names and I don't see your names. Sometimes it's just a thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Sometimes I just get a letter. So I don't mind it as much when we're in the high flex environment, but in this particular version of class, I like to see you. And then I get to know what you actually look like when you're not wearing a mask as well. And you can also go ahead and put your, in the chat, say that you're here. Okay, thank you for the question. And I'm gonna put it here. So in today's world, do we still have freedom of speech in today's world? Okay, so that's about the First Amendment. which guarantees Americans the freedom of speech. That's tied into the very first question that I asked in this class, which was about cancel culture, because people get canceled because they say either sexist things or racist things or inappropriate things. And so you have to filter what you say or else you'll get canceled. I don't know if that's what you're thinking about, Mia. What was on your mind with that question? So go ahead and spend 5 to 10 minutes on this. And if you don't have your camera on, please put it on.
Do we start over with the quick writes? Do we just name
Well, that's
this
a good
one number
question.
one?
Why don't you, let's look and see what the last one was. I say don't start over, so this would be number, yeah, don't start over. So the last one we did was, Tiffany, did you do yours? Okay, so the last one was number 17, so this will be number 18.
Okay.
Let's see, is Anya here? Nope, no Anya. Is Bronson here? Nope. Oh, there's Anya, she is here. And Lainey's here. Yep, Bronson's here now. I finally figured out how to let you guys in without the waiting room. Okay, why don't you write for one more minute? So off camera people, if you would be so kind, if your camera's working, could you please turn it on? I understand if it's not working, but if it does work, I'd like to see you. Okay, so let's just start thinking about, in terms of research, that one of the things that you are supposed to do in this paper is to make a claim. So the claim that we can intuit from the question, do we still have freedom of speech in today's society, is either an argument that we do not have freedom of speech in today's society, or that we still have freedom of speech in today's society. It's a huge topic, and so I'm going to really encourage everybody to think narrowly about it. When I say narrowly, I mean, why not just look at, do you have freedom of speech on social media? To what extent are you allowed to say whatever you want on social media? You might even narrow it down to a single social media platform. Do you have freedom of speech on TikTok? I don't even know what TikTok does, really. This is how I officially made myself feel old this morning, is realizing I don't know what TikTok is. It's like dance videos. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer to, I don't know what you're thinking about in terms of freedom of speech. If you're thinking about it in college, are you allowed to say what you want in a class? Are you thinking about it in the social media sphere? Are you thinking about it in private conversations that you have with people? Do you have to filter everything you say and you can't really be free to say what you want to? Let me just ask Mia off the bat where her thoughts are on why this question.
I believe that you're supposed to have freedom of speech, but these days you really don't. Like, I wouldn't have freedom of speech. I feel like this is gonna sound bad, but so like I feel like certain people only have freedom of speech. More like liberals tend to have more freedom of speech, whereas I wouldn't. I would be, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be something that's researchable. Do conservatives have greater restrictions on them regarding what they can say? Are they free to say? So let's hear what other people, so I have a feeling that it's not going to be political on other students' minds, but let's find out. So can I have a volunteer, please? And if I don't have a volunteer, I'm just going to pick somebody.
I want to share.
Brianna, is that? Yes. Please.
Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't thinking about it like Mia was. I guess mine was more social media, I guess. But I said, yeah, I think we still do have freedom of speech. It's just, I mean, like, if you say something racist or homophobic, then, like, you can still say it, but I feel like you just deserve the hate you're gonna get for it. Like the people that are gonna hate on you for it have a freedom of speech too. So
Mhm. So yours is sort of political because you're saying if racists and homophobes are going to put it out there, they have freedom of speech, right? And
right,
so they're going to get kickback. They're going to get backlash
right,
saying you're racist, you're homophobic, and so
exactly.
and
But
so
both sides still have the freedom of speech. Like I guess it makes sense.
I have a
I follow what you're saying.
yeah.
That makes sense to me, Brianna. If you read it, would you think it would be clearer what you just said?
Wait, I didn't hear what you just said.
Is what you wrote, do you feel like what you wrote is clear?
Yeah, it was kind of long, so I just kind of summed it up. I didn't want to read the whole thing.
Okay, no worries. I'm glad that you had something to say. I was worried that people were like, I don't know what she means. Somebody
Yeah.
else, I heard their voice, but I didn't know who it was.
It was me. It was Mia. I didn't really elaborate on what I was trying to say in my topic, so I kind of have an example if you want.
Sure.
So it was like a personal experience on Twitter because they all know like everybody has Twitter beef. I said something about how I didn't support rioting, the Black Lives Matter riots, and I didn't support that. And then I got a bunch of people subtweeted me, basically commented to me saying how I was racist because I didn't support the riots. And a bunch of people attacked me left and right. And I feel like in that instant, like they had their freedom of speech, but I didn't because I had a different opinion than them. So I wasn't allowed to speak.
Well,
That's
does
kind of what
anybody
I
have a response for that before I jump in?
You were still allowed to speak. They just attacked you for it.
That's kind of my response. Like
Yeah,
you. So this is a hard topic because it's constitutional law that we're entering in. So let's just look at the First Amendment to the Constitution. So you've actually picked a very hard topic because the Supreme Court are the brilliant interpreters of legalese, and we are mere readers and mortal inhabitants on this earth. So Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So it does tie into the Black Lives Matter demonstrations. And so I'm going to tell you, just so you know, that people would find it racist to say riots. Just that word is going to trigger people. You have the right to say it, but you will get backlash for using riot instead of, because it's all tied into freedom of speech. They have the right for peaceable assembly. And so people will say that the Black Lives Matter movement is largely peaceful. So Bronson, would you like to join in?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would say that I would agree with all those. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. I would say that I would like to agree with all those different people. I would think that public of the. Excuse me. I would agree. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. I would like to say that I would agree with all those people. I think different. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. I would like to agree that. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. I would like to say that I would like to agree with those people about the freedom of speech. I think the freedom of speech is public and is necessary. Or, however, excuse me. I would like to agree with all those different people. I would like to say that freedom of speech is public and is necessary for Congress, although it can lead to different opinions sometimes. But
Okay, I think we followed what you're saying, that you agree with both sides, that there is different opinions that are expressed and shut down. and that there is nonetheless, I think this is what you're saying, there is the freedom of speech. So what we have to do in a
Yes,
research
ma'am.
paper argument is make sure we're clear about picking our sides. And so what I would say, Mia, is that you're going to need to do the research for the claim. It's a fine claim, but you're going to need to do the research to find the evidence to prove the claim. So does anybody else want to read what they wrote on the question, which is a very, I'm glad that this question came up. It's got there's lots to be said. All right. I'm just going to ask somebody. So Dayton, what did you write?
I wrote about the social media,
Mm-hmm.
about social media and
Mhm.
how if you say something like if you want to say something about it, it ain't gonna always, they're not gonna listen to what you gotta say. It's gonna mostly, they're not gonna take your opinion or none of that. Like you can say what you want, but I don't know how to say it. I'm trying, like you can have your opinion on things, but
We all have our opinions on things, right?
yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean it's right. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions, but it doesn't mean okay, so this is why research is research and opinions are opinions. When experts agree with you and can show evidence, then it's no longer just an opinion. It's what the most researched facts are that are published and reviewed to make sure that it's not just, this is the way Dr. Robin White felt on October 5th. So this leads us to, unless anybody else wants to chime in on First Amendment, freedom of speech, this kind of segues into today's lesson well. So how do you get those experts to back up your claims? Did anybody else want to say anything? Okay, let's move on. So I'm asking you guys, how do you get the experts to back up your claim? Where do you look for expert opinion? Experts whose opinions are so well researched that they're not really an opinion anymore, they're factual.
Legitimate websites, like how you said, Pew Research Center.
There are some data collection websites. That would be a good start. Yes, where else? All right, so let's look and see where else. So this is your handy dandy Moodle page, and this is where you're going to find lots of information about using MLA, documenting your sources, creating works cited, creating bibliography. And we're going to look at the library where you're going to find good sources. So good sources are also known as academic and peer-reviewed sources. So when it's peer-reviewed by experts, it's not like we're sitting in class doing a peer review. And I'm going to digress for a second because I really enjoyed reading many of your profiles and your letters of reflection. Some people liked peer review, some people didn't. There was a little flaw with peer review that I think it was Samantha said the questions weren't good. They weren't. So that was a good observation. The questions, I'm going to tell you the truth, just like everybody else, I did them at the last minute and they were not open-ended questions. And so the questions you had for peer review didn't really allow for detailed answers. There were lots of yes and no. So like, as I continue to tweak the assignment of the podcast, I have to do a better peer review sheet. And it also was really problematic because usually I can say, do you have your paper? And I can put people with partners so that they have a partner with a paper, but this was all complicated and it's HyFlex. So I appreciated some of that feedback on peer review. back to peer review in the professional domain, it doesn't mean that a bunch of students sat together. It means that people who have usually a national or international reputation for being knowledgeable publish something, and they have to get it read by people who are experts in order to get it reviewed, and then it becomes published. And so it's the higher, bigger universities that tend to have, not like Nichols, we're a teaching university, so I do a little bit of research, but places like LSU, all the professors there all the time are involved in this process of looking at other professors' writings on different things. So that was what peer review means. And so how do you get books and articles that are peer reviewed? So you first go here. That is not where I thought it was going to go. Yes, this is where I wanted to go. So do you see the library in front of you? Okay, so you click on databases, and then there's two different, so because that didn't click where I thought it was gonna go, I'm gonna go back and fix it later, but there's two different sources. So I would strongly recommend you writing this down. So the first one is called Academic Search Complete. Academic Search Complete is not going to give you all peer-reviewed articles, but it will give you journalist and peer-reviewed articles. So newspapers are not considered peer-reviewed. So let's look up First Amendment. And there is literally going to be, so notice it comes up together, freedom of speech, First Amendment. It's also tied in, let's actually get rid of First Amendment. Let's just do freedom of speech because I forgot about the religious part, freedom of speech. There's gonna be 1 million pieces of writing on this. So do you see how many articles there are on that topic? How many hundreds of thousands? Nobody sees the number?
211,615.
Yeah, that's a lot of, so when I say, freedom of speech is a broad topic, that's what I mean. There's so much out there, because can you read 615,000 articles? No, that's just not humanly possible. Now, some of these are not going to be peer reviewed. And I'm going to show you the ones that are. So do you think if it says academic journal, that means peer reviewed? It does. That is the sign. It is peer reviewed. So let's go to, and so you're coming up with a lot of academic articles. Of course, you don't want ones in Spanish unless you read Spanish. I'm having a hard time finding a non-academic. So all of these are good sources, but because it's too broad, it's all over the place. We're talking about all over the world. We're talking about Beethoven. We're talking about, so you really, Serbia, like you're not interested in freedom of speech in Serbia. You're interested in freedom of speech in the United States. So you have to narrow it down. And that's why I would really encourage you to work on something like freedom of speech on Twitter. Narrow. Let's see what happens when we do that. So this is a periodical where it says endless euphoria, carnival celebrates freedom, defiance, and age-old transition. So that one is not an academic article. It's a magazine article or a newspaper article. So it would not be a peer-reviewed source. So now I'm guessing even within freedom, oh, I don't have freedom of speech. There's still going to be 1 million. Freedom of speech, that was just freedom. Let's see what freedom of speech, 35,000. So now we're going to do freedom of speech Twitter.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
So say that I wanted my topic to be freedom of speech because I'm extra interested now. I'm ready to argue.
Yeah.
Can I do like Twitter and politics and college and like just kind of all the different aspects?
I would not, so that's 2 different things because I'm surprised you're on Twitter. My students are not usually on Twitter. Who is on Twitter in this class? Raise your hand if you, wow. Something's changed. A few years ago, all my students were like, we don't do Twitter, we do Vines.
I like Twitter beef.
So, okay, so yes, but don't do freedom of speech, Twitter and universities do, well, you could do that, but see what's out there. Cause now let's, that's almost too narrow. Let's see what happens if we put freedom of speech, Twitter, universities. And freedom of speech is something I'm interested in because I feel like sometimes I can't say things because my students will cancel me. And that annoys me. I'm like, All right, so so the first thing you would do is start to pick the articles that are most aligned to what you're interested in, because there's 31 articles and that is too many. That is way too many articles. I don't want you to read 31 articles. I want you to figure out the 4 articles that are most aligned to your topic. And glory hallelujah, there are plenty of things on this topic. So you're gonna pick 4, and this is where you begin your annotated bibliography, which is due on the 15th or 16th. Let me see real quick. When is that annotated bibliography due? Boop. Oh, let me go back. It's due in a couple of weeks, so you should begin now. This will not go well if you, the 16th. So you need to begin, all of you, the research begins today. So you're going to, so I told you to write it down. What is the, where do we find all these academic articles? What is the database called?
Academic First Review.
Academic Search Complete.
Oh.
So, yeah, please begin with looking there. Now we're going to go to another database, and I want another student's topic.
What's due on the 16th?
Hello.
Your annotated bibliography. So to do the annotated bibliography, you need to read, you need to read 4 articles. You need to say what each article is about, and then you need to say whether that article is going to be useful or not. So that's what the annotated bibliography is, the first step of the research, because you're figuring out, are these articles useful? Sometimes people do a whole annotated bibliography only to discover that they are really bored by their topic, because I'm going to tell you now, your topic is hard. And like I said, it's legal. It's a legal topic. So let's go back to the Nichols Library. So annotated bibliography is due on the 16th. And I'll show you on Wednesday the format and the instructions on put in your bibliographical entry, write a paragraph about what the article is about, and then say whether it's useful. I'll give you that next in the next class. Right now, I just want you to focus on where you get the articles. Okay, so the other place you're gonna look, so please write this down. I'll make sure that the link works properly. I don't know why it didn't a second ago. So you go to the library, you go to databases. The first one is Academic Search Complete, because look at all these. Like, this is a billion databases. There's too much information out there. So you don't want to go into Jet Propulsion Laboratory Technical Report Server. I want you to go to Academic Search Complete or one that's called JSTOR. So please write down, where's JSTOR? JSTOR will not have quite as updated articles, but the good news about JSTOR is all of them are peer reviewed. So would somebody give me another topic? Like, what are you thinking of researching?
China's one-child policy.
Oh, China's one-child policy? Was
You can
that
hear me?
Zaire? Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh my gosh, my mic has been acting up, so I'm trying to fix it.
Is your camera not working?
My computer's kind of broken.
All I heard was chunk of chunks. But I know that Zaire's working on China's one-child policy, which again is very, very big, because China is a huge country. So let's try one child policy, China. And I am guessing, oops, I spelled policy in China wrong. I'm guessing that a few things will come up. Oh yeah, there's a lot, a few, 35,000. So, and so here is where I also like JSTOR a little bit better than Academic Search Complete. So what research timeline do you want for China's one-child policy? Most people just want to look at the last 5 years. That's considered updated. So here we are in 2015. You can do, if nothing comes up, then you can do the last 10 years and you can keep looking if you don't find anything. So let's see what's published in the last 5 years about China's one-child policy. And it's not gonna, so still there's 2,000 things. There's a lot on this topic. So China is this big, huge country with 1 billion people, and the one-child policy was extremely controversial within China, all over the world. So here we have 1 million articles. So what Zaire probably needs to do is read a few of them, the ones that are interesting to her. And they're going to be hard to read because these are real specialists, real researchers on I don't even know what field that is, on I guess they're sociology. Let's do this also because we need to narrow it down and not stare at 2,000 articles. So we've looked at 2,000 articles in the last 5 years. So let's look at all the different subject areas. And I would think these are sociologists and maybe people who study child development because it's unusual to have only single children families and what happens to kids in that. So sociology is studying society, and child development, what happens to kids. So we're not in African American studies, we're not in African studies, we're not in agriculture, we're not in American studies, we're not in any of these, and so we're gonna show more. I'm gonna throw in biological sciences just to see what comes up. Computer criminology, just to see if there's anything, because that's curious to me.
Would we not be allowed to use news articles?
You can use one news article, and it can't be from the Homa Courier unless you're writing something specifically about Homa. You have to use a great big national or international newspaper because those are the papers that have the greatest number of editors to make sure that things are reported factually. So you could use the LA Times, you can use the Guardian, it's a British paper. You can use the New York Times. So big city papers are fine. Thibodeau, the Comet, it's not anything against Thibodeau or the Comet. Even New Orleans paper, it's not widely read outside of New Orleans. The Advocate and the Times-Picayune don't hold up that. So you guys, let me ask you, if we're looking at one-child policy, do you think gender studies falls in to the field of one child? What do you think, Zaire? Maybe
Yes,
her mind's
ma'am.
up. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, definitely. Health, gender. So you want to tick off the ones feminists because it's women were forced to have abortions because of the one-child policy. And so that is a feminist question. Ecology and evolutionary biology. I could see how all of this would tie in. Health sciences. I'm just picking the ones that are the most obvious to me. And I really want to get to science, technology. Where's sociology? Social work, sociology. All right, so now we have 382 out of the ones that I picked, which is still quite a few. But it's better than 35,000. And so once you pick your articles, You have to read them. Let's look at an academic article. Let me get another topic. Come on, don't be shy. Shamira, what's your topic?
I don't have a topic yet, but you could do immigration.
Okay, again, huge topic. So immigration to where?
Like from Mexico to the US.
Mexico to the US immigration. Okay. So Mexican, did you guys know it's way down? Mexican immigration to the United States. So Mexico does not send a lot of immigrants to the United States. It's Central America. Remember, Mexico is North America. All right, Mexican immigration to the United States. There's gonna be 30 million billion articles on this. Yep, 21,000. So we really need to narrow that down. So what do I do to narrow it down? What's the first thing? Do we wanna look at the whole history? Mexico's way older than the United States, so we're going back into the 17th and 16th century. When do you wanna start this immigration? Since we became a country in 1776?
You could
The
do
last
right now.
5 years?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so let's do 21st century, and then we'll look at what's been published in the last 5 years. So 21st century. Okay, and then you can narrow it down here. So you're only looking at journals and you're not looking at books. That's just another way to narrow it, but books are fine. I don't want to quite cut that option out. 2015 to 2020. So we're looking at the last 20 years because 21st century, and then we have to pick some topics. Because without picking the topics, I'm going to guess that there's still going to be thousands and thousands. Yep. So, oh, and it made it go away. So 2015, 2020. So what do you think? What subject areas does immigration fall into? Maybe cultural studies? Yeah, that gave us quite a, why are we in that category though? Mexican immigrants to the United States. This is nice because we only have 25 things to look at. None of them seem that tied into, what is it specifically about immigration that you want to look at? Because like this is all over the place. We need to kind of narrow it down. What element of Mexican immigration to the United States do you want to focus on? Let's go back to this. It has to be interesting to you for a reason. So why are you interested in this topic? There's no wrong answer.
I know, but like, I just picked it because that's what I did my question on. So.
Are you interested in Mexican immigration to the United States? I mean, why? Why
I don't
Mexican?
know, because like, I don't know.
Okay, so I would say that Shamira, you have to go back to the writing board and say, what am I really interested in? Because if you don't know why you're choosing this, it's not going to work. You're going to bore yourself to tears. Because do you want to read an article about this?
Maybe she can write a research paper about like the different percentage of the different Nicaraguan, Hondurans, Mexicans, like Cuban, like all the different types, and see like the percentages of in the states, or
yeah,
easier or harder. Like that's just an idea.
No, that's an idea. Like, what are the percentages of Latin Americans from the different groups? And Latin America is huge. It's Mexico all the way down to Argentina. So those are like, I don't know how many countries, dozens. Bolivia, Ecuador, Chile. And so that would be researchable. It wouldn't be amazingly interesting just to see the numbers, but that is a researchable topic. Where do people from Latin America, and I'm telling you, they don't really immigrate that much from Mexico. Mexico's economy is a little bit like stronger than El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. So those are Central American countries. And so people are economic immigrants to the United States. Typically, they want to come here to make money, to work. So because Mexico's not particularly stable, but like we don't get as huge numbers as we used to. So that I would say with Shamira is like, she has to figure out what she's really interested in. Let me ask another person, Jaden, what are you thinking about?
I'm still thinking about my topic.
Well, what are some of your ideas?
I don't even know.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I was planning on doing this today, and so we're going to go ahead. Yes. Who is that raising their hand?
Me.
Naya, sorry. Naya, what are you thinking about?
I wanted to do something about body image.
Good.
Yes, about that.
Okay, body image. But again, let me just promise you, it's going to come up like a billion things. So let's do body image, because men have body image, children have body image, teenagers have body image, white women have certain body image issues that supposedly African-American women don't have, and African-American women have certain body image issues that white ladies don't have. So you have to narrow it, like whose body?
More of women.
Women's bodies. Okay, body image, women. And I still think that we're gonna get a billion things. Big, interesting topic, but I like it, and it sounds like you're interested in it. So yeah, 115,000. So we really have to like figure out what body image in particular, what element. And you can be thinking about that. I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, because it's good that like you're like, body image, that's what I want to do. But now we have to refine it so it's not 115,000 things. That's just too many to read and too many issues. I don't think I had the dates narrowed down. Let's see if we put it in the last 5 years, and we're only going to do journals now. Let's see what happens. So there's still 100,000 articles out there on body image, self-objectification, the use of body image coping strategies, the role of shame in highly physically active women. That sounds interesting. Like that would be a topic right there, body image and athletes. And then you could narrow it down from there, body image and women tennis players, right? Like you need to be narrow. You don't want to just do body image. It should be like body image and a certain kind of people. All right, so I'm gonna put you in my favorite thing to do, which is to put you in breakout groups and to tell each other what you're thinking about in terms of research. And if you're with a person that is saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, push them, help them. So here we go. I'm gonna put you in about 4 breakout groups. There's no wrong thing to research. And I'll put you in for like maybe 5 minutes. Except that my little breakout room thing is not popping up. Oh, maybe I have to stop the screen share. There we go. Okay, let's see. There we go. All right, and so I'll see you in 5 minutes. And choose the most interesting persons to report back. Okay, it looks like most of you are back. So I'm just going to go by the names that are the first name in every group. Alexis, what was the best subject in your group?
Well, I talked about it with everyone, and everyone said they liked mine a lot, which
Oh,
was,
good.
is physical abuse more harmful than mental abuse?
Right. So something that Alexis and I discussed. So I think it's probably helpful not to pat myself on the back, but it's probably helpful to like discuss it with me like Alexis did. So yes, that's a decent topic. Brianna, you're the first name on the list. So in your group of Dayton, Lainey, Naya, and Samantha, what was the most interesting?
Well, we picked mine too.
Oh, funny. Okay.
Mine is sexual harassment within families.
Dark. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dark is good. You know why? It keeps us interested.
Dr. White,
Yes.
I clicked on the group, like my thing to join the group, and it was just me on there. Like, I don't know what had happened.
You were supposed to be in Brianna, Dayton, Lainey, Naya's group, but I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know.
just me in the thing. I don't know if it like messed up or.
Yeah. I don't think you messed up. Blame it on Zoom. What are you thinking about, just so that we can hear your thoughts?
I have 3 different ideas, and it was adoption, sweatshops, and lowering the drinking age.
Okay, so that would be something I would really like you to discuss with others, to think about what the most interesting one is. And let me just remind everybody, Dr. White here has read a lot about lowering the drinking age, which I know that you're interested in it because you're 18, 19, 20 years old. But at this point, I'm over it. I've been convinced, lower the drinking age. Bronson, are you raising your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what you got?
So I got virtual cinematography, which is like a type of virtual reality, except that it gives you the feel of cinematography or camera work in any kind of film. So I think I'll do my research topic on that. And you think it's good?
I think it's almost too narrow. That's very, very narrow. And did you discuss it with your group? Did they know what it was?
Yeah.
They did? Okay. Well,
no.
Let me ask Anya, since she's the first name that popped up in Anya, Bronson, Ebony, Jaden, and Tiffany. Anya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What topic did you think was the most interesting in your group?
Oh, Bronson's.
Oh. All right. Sounds like it's a good topic, Bronson. All right, well, on Wednesday, please have it nailed down a little bit. Like if you're in Samantha's boat where you're thinking about 3 things, just ask somebody else, get somebody else's feedback. If your audience is this class, in the end, it's not so important that I say I've read a lot of papers on that. You should write on it because it's interesting to you and your peers. All right, so on Wednesday, we're going to look more carefully at how to create the annotated bibliography. And I want to hear more specifically what your topics are. And we're going to start to talk about biases. So please look up what a bias is. When I come to class on Wednesday, I'm going to ask you, what's a bias? So that's your homework. It's easy. What's a bias? Okay? See you on Wednesday.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are we allowed to use documentaries as a source?
You can, but only one, because that would be considered a non-peer-reviewed source. So it's a source. Ebony, also, I had to take your camera off of you because it was so distracting, because you were like talking and moving your hands, and I was just like, it was too much for me to like try to concentrate on what people were doing. So if you don't mind focusing a little bit more on the class.
No problem, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I felt bad about it because I was like, she's doing something, but it was just hard for me to sort of not look at you.
Okay.
Dr. White?
wait, so back to Ebony. Tell me again, what documentary you want to use?
I want to do What the Health by on Netflix, talking about American diet.
Sure. So you can use it, but that you can't have 4 documentaries. You can have 1, and that's your non-peer reviewed source.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not really explaining that correctly. You can have as many sources as you want, but 3 of them have to be peer reviewed. But this is good because you can actually research that documentary and see if there's been any peer reviewed publications on the documentary. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Was that Lainey who wanted to say something, or Jaden?
Yeah.
Lainey.
So basically, I looked at the grades in Moodle, and I just saw that you said my profile you're looking for it, but you couldn't find it. I don't know what happened.
Right. You sent it to me, right?
Because yes, I did. I don't know why it didn't go through on your end, but it says I submitted it, so I don't know.
Let me have a look really quickly, and let's see if I made a mistake.
I just don't want to get points taken off because I did submit it.
Right, I got you. Well, okay, so basically, the midterm grade does not count as anything. It's just letting you know how you are doing. It's not the grade. So those I've already submitted, and I'm gonna look really quickly here in your class to see if I didn't look in the right place. Let's see, podcast interview. So I definitely got the podcast. And there's the big podcast upload, profile essay due. And
I'll send you my what's it called, letter of reflection today.
Letter of reflection.
Because I had forgot to do that after I was done with my podcast.
You had forgotten. All right, so now I'm looking for you, Lainey. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screenshot of it, and you'll see why it doesn't appear to me that you've done it. But it doesn't really matter. I want you to more like, let's figure out, I'm gonna have to send it to you in chat. Let's figure out why you thought that it uploaded, but it didn't. So this is what I see when so I just sent it to you. Jane, did you have a question or something? I think Jaden doesn't realize she's here. So did you click on that, Lainey, in the chat?
Oh, you sent it in the chat?
Yeah, I sent it as a chat. And so this is what I see when I go into Moodle and look for your paper. I see no submission. But it doesn't matter. I will read it in the email. I just want to make sure that you are submitting in the right place for the next paper.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I don't know what happened. Maybe it's like failed to submit or something.
Right. All right. Well, let's just make sure that it's all in line.
All right.
Because, I'm loosey-goosey. If you had to guess, do you think that there are some English professors out there that say if you didn't get it uploaded in the link, I'm not grading it?
Some people do, I guess. I don't know.
They do. I promise you, I've had students fail. They're like, I failed, but I sent it to her. I'm like, well, was it in the thing? Well, no. Well, some people will fail you for that. So just, I'm sure that it'll all get straightened out. And you had an accident, so don't even worry about it, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.